Good morning, ladies and gentlemen of the media fraternity. Welcome to 2022, our first press conference, which is going to be addressed by none other than Douglas Mwonzora, the MDC president. But before he addresses you, I want to introduce to you the leadership here present. We have got Vice President Engineer Elias Mzuri here present. We have got the National Chairperson, Senator Morgan Komichi. We have got the Deputy National Chairperson, Charles Mtsekwa. We have got the Secretary General, Honorable Paulina Mpariwa. We have got the National Organizing Secretary, Gift Chimanikire. We have got our Secretary for Security, Shakespeare Mkoi. And of course, you all know me. I'm the Party Treasurer General, but I'm stepping in for Witness Due, our Secretary for Information and Publicity, who is going to join us a little bit late. Without much ado, let me take this opportunity to introduce to you Senator Douglas Mwonzora, who is the MDCT leader. Senator Mwonzora is well known to you, all of you, as a veteran of the democratic struggle. He's an advocate, a top lawyer in this country. He's also a trade unionist in his own right and an academic. Over to you, President Mwonzora.
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Mashakada, our Treasurer General. If you don't mind, I will have to remove the mask, but it's not recommended. Don't try this at home. Is my friend Tonio here? He's not here? Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the press, welcome to this first press conference of 2022. Our best wishes to you, your families, and the people of Zimbabwe for the blessings of 2022. Since the holding of its historic extraordinary Congress on the 27th of December 2020, our party has embarked on a program to initiate dialogue as a means to resolve key challenges of our nation. There is no doubt that the Zimbabwean crisis is a multifaceted crisis which includes the crisis of endemic poverty and misery, inequality, unemployment, the underperforming economy, the perennial problem of contested legitimacy. Our preference for dialogue as the main strategy is born out of the fact that at key and defining moments of Zimbabwe's history, dialogue has worked to the best interests of our people. The dialogue at Lancaster House led to the ending of a grueling war of liberation and ushered independence in the first democratic elections in 1980. After the senseless bloodletting in Matabeleland and the Midlands in the early and mid-1980s, the protagonists employed the dialogue to end the pestilence. After the bloody 2008 presidential runoff election that left over 300 of the MDC officials and supporters dead, the international community, especially SADC and the African Union, exhorted the Zimbabweans to dialogue and find one another. This led to the ushering of the inclusive government and the objective betterment of the lives of the Zimbabwean people. As you are no doubt aware, on the 11th of June 2021, the MDC leadership met the state president, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, at State House and presented its demands for national dialogue. It presented a paper containing the specific issues upon which the proposed dialogue was to focus. It also proposed the timelines as well as the forum for the dialogue. As per his promise, on the 16th of September 2021, the President formally replied to our initiative. There were many areas of convergence. However, there were a few areas where we did not agree. The national executive of the party therefore directed that the party leadership embark on a nationwide program to consult our structures on these key issues. On the 26th of November 2021, the National Council of our party met and finalized the party position on dialogue. I was ordered to lead a party delegation to advise President Mnangagwa of the findings of the consultation as well as the party's final position on dialogue. Our discussion with the President and his team were cordial, respectful, purposeful, focused, and gave us hope that we had made tremendous progress in our efforts. During the nationwide consultation, we noticed that Zimbabweans overwhelmingly support the dialogue initiative. This seems to corroborate the research done by Afrobarometer, which suggested that about 76% of Zimbabweans living in the rural areas support dialogue. About 68% of Zimbabweans living in the urban areas support dialogue. Further, the people of Zimbabwe want the dialogue to focus on people issues, including ending poverty and misery, unemployment, inequality and unequal access to national resources, social protection and the erosion of our pensions, deindustrialization and capital flight from our land, compensation for all the victims of political violence, labor and employment rights, governance, human rights issues, as well as the respect for the rule of law. They also want us to focus on the security of the person and electoral reforms. In this regard, they want the diaspora vote, among other reforms. Zimbabweans want dialogue to lead to key economic, social, and political reforms. Our people want dialogue to be time-bound and inclusive. Mechanisms will be put in place to ensure the participation of labor, business, civil society, churches, and other stakeholders, either directly or indirectly in the dialogue process. The President promised to come back to us formally after consultation with his teams. We are very optimistic that we are on the right path and that this is good for the people of Zimbabwe. The National Council of the 26th of November again directed that the party holds its Congress on the 5th of March 2022. This will be the ordinary Congress. The main Congress will be preceded by Congresses at branch, ward, district, and provincial levels. The Congress of the branches and the wards have already started. We are very proud at the peace and amity that has prevailed in our Congresses this far. The lower structure Congresses are being supervised by the senior structures above them. However, the main Congress will be conducted by an independent electoral management board to be appointed by the National Council. All positions, including the presidency, are up for grabs. In the MDC, it's not an offense to contest, so those who are hopeful and do qualify are allowed to contest. After the presidential proclamation of the by-elections, the party decided to contest. We have finalized our candidate selection in most constituencies and wards. We are confident that our candidate selection process will be completed by the 17th of January 2022, almost 10 days before the sitting of the nomination court. We are already selecting our polling agents and we have established an election war room to coordinate the election activities. Yesterday, we had a meeting of the alliance partners where we agreed on who will field candidates in which ward or constituency. For the avoidance of doubt, we are going to contest this election as the MDC alliance in terms of the composite political agreement signed on the 5th of August 2017. For the sake of completeness, let me remind you that one of the signatories of this composite political agreement was none other than our departed president, Morgan Richard Tsvangirai. We are delighted to note that we have already started submitting our candidates to the Zimbabwe Election Commission ahead of the nomination court to minimize pressure on ourselves. Here, let me repeat, we have already submitted some of the candidates for nomination to the Zimbabwe Election Commission. These are candidates whose election internally was unopposed, and they are now the party candidates. Their names are already, their forms are already with the Zimbabwe Election Commission. This election is no doubt a referendum on national dialogue, and we are approaching it very, very seriously. We are very confident that we will prevail in these by-elections. We have been written off many, many times, but this writing off of this group is unscientific. And it's writing off of people who have a history of success. Right on my left here is Engineer Mwonzora, who was our organizing secretary in 2008 when we handed ZANU-PF its heaviest defeat in history. He was deputized by the person on my right, Senator Morgan Komich. So we are approaching this election very, very seriously, and we want to say to our opponents that they must take us seriously, because we are entering this election not to lose it, but to win it, and win it we shall. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, President, for the very eloquent presentation. How we are going to proceed is as follows. The media house or a representative of media house will introduce yourself before you pose your question. And in order to proceed methodically, we'll give you numbers and then you proceed to raise your questions. So, who would want to be number one? Please, you can raise your hand clearly for me. Number one? Yes? Yes? Number two? Yes. Number three? Yes. Number four?
Maybe make them
Yes.
three.
Okay, four. Sorry, President, I'm going to four.
Okay.
Okay. So we proceed with number one in that order. You introduce yourself and then pose your question. Thank you.
My name is Gibson Negatina. I'm a freelance journalist. I'm making a question bearing in mind the statement that was released by the party yesterday to ZEC. So I wanted to find out, it seems the position of the MDC when it comes to issues of elections, it is more legalistic in nature. I wanted to find out what is your political goal pertaining to that, bearing in mind you also have opponents who have been using that name, the MDC Alliance name. What is your political goal? Are you trying to push them to rebrand or to do otherwise? Then secondly, we are participating in the upcoming by-elections without necessary political reforms, electoral reforms, as you say. Isn't this a dangerous precedent, bearing in mind that we also may participate in next year's elections without reforms which are needed, as you have mentioned? Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Number two.
Thank you very much. My name is Lisani Mure. Would you mind to take us in confidence? Who are the alliance partners whom you met yesterday to finalize on constituencies? Also, given the number of MPs who were drawn, from which party are you fielding many of them, given that most of them are from the MDC basket in their lives? Will you continue on the same path, though with a few seats that come from the MDC Washington team? Will you continue on the same path and contest in this by-election?
Thank you. Number 3, Untitled is next. Your question.
Hello, my name is Alexiba from MDC. Just wanted to ask you, Mr. Mwonzora, you indicated in your letter yesterday that you will not allow any other opponent to use the name MDC Alliance because you are the MDC Alliance. Are you stopping? Are you saying there should be no faction in the MDC?
Thank you for that question. Number
Sorry,
4.
maybe the question must be repeated.
I'm saying there should be no faction in MDC.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
Thank you. Number 4. The last one in this round. Have they had their question asked by somebody else? All right, thank you. The Honorable President can respond to this.
Oh, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for the questions. Gibson, your question is in about 3 parts. What is the principal political goal of the MDC? The principal political goal of the MDC is to take over governmental power through peaceful, democratic, and constitutional means, govern differently, and change the lives of our people for the better. We exist to deal with the problems facing the Zimbabwean people. So that is our principal political goal. We want Zimbabwe to be a land of happy people again. We want Zimbabwe to restore its position as the leading economic and commercial hub of the African continent. We want a Zimbabwe free of hate. We want a Zimbabwe that is democratic, a Zimbabwe where everyone is able to live to their full potential. That is our principal political goal. The use of the name, the MDC Alliance, is nothing new. Let no one say that they've been taken by surprise. When we had our anniversary on the 11th of after the 11th of September in 2020, our chairperson Morgan Komichi stated clearly that the MDC Alliance was our name. The MDC Alliance that we are talking about is the MDC Alliance constituted in terms of the composite political agreement. And that alliance agreement had 7 political parties in it. We are now going to the by-elections. Remember, we have MPs who are in parliament using the MDC Alliance name. And therefore, we cannot use any other name because it will generate an absurdity where MPs from one party are called by different names. So we are using the MDC Alliance, and we have a name, and we have a legitimate legal claim to that name. That name is ours. The reforms that you were talking about, yes, you are right that the reforms have not been instituted. One of the issues that I raised with President Mnangagwa was that we must institute mechanisms to ensure that this electoral process is democratized and the institutions are democratized. So some of the electoral reforms that we advocate for do not take time to institute, and we still hope that we will be able to institute some of these. Korisani, who are the alliance partners? Who are not the alliance partners? Who is the alliance partner that you say was not there? If you are talking about Tendai Biti is no longer the leader of the PDP. He was deposed in 2018 by his party's National Council. He is right now fighting for leadership in the Supreme Court. He has not won that fight. So there is the leader of the party is there, Mrs. Lucia Matibenga. I say she is the leader of the party because she is the one who has the power of recall. In constitutional law, we use there is what we call the Cretan theory, the theory of effectiveness. For you to find out, to determine who is the government in a country, you look at the person who is effective. The person who is effective in the PDP is the person who is able to make binding decisions, and the person who is able to recall members of parliament. Tendai Biti was recalled by Lucia Matibenga. He was removed from the PDP at their National Council. I think it was in September 2018. Are you talking about Welshman Ngube? Welshman Ngube, he dissolved his party in Gweru and he joined the MDCT. He then lost the leadership of the MDC Green, and we do have members of the MDC Green who are attending the alliance meetings. Or are you talking about my friend Jacob Ngaruvume? Jacob Ngaruvume announced his withdrawal from the alliance immediately after the 2018 elections. I read somewhere where he was saying that he was not contesting these by-elections. So remember also that in terms of the alliance agreement, you are allowed, the alliance is allowed to grow. The alliance is allowed to admit new partners, and there are a few partners within the alliance agreement. The candidates are going to be fielded from a party that has lost that seat. So if the seat was being held by the MDCT, it will be the MDCT who will field. So we do have three sets of candidates. We have candidates from the MDCT or the vacancies from the MDCT. They are going to be filled by the MDCT as a part of its quota in the MDC alliance. You also have candidates under the PDP. They are going to be fielded by the PDP under the alliance agreement as part of its quota. But we also have candidates from seats that were being held by ZANU-PF. We did agree with the alliance partners yesterday that by the end of day today, the alliance partners must indicate which seats they are interested in contesting. Now, there may come a situation where a party is unable to field part of its quota. We agreed yesterday that in that case, the party that is strong can still field under the MDC alliance. Anna, you say that there should be two MDC alliances that must field candidates.
No,
why should we agree to that? Why should any political party with its salt allow parallel candidates? We won't allow parallel candidates. So the MDC alliance is one, and the MDC alliance we are talking about is the MDC alliance that was formed in 2017 as a result of the alliance agreement. It is going to field single candidates. It is not going to field double candidates. And we will not allow people to use our name because we own the name. And we warned these people that the name was ours as far back as 2020, 2 years ago. So people cannot say that they were taken by surprise. So we will not allow a faction within the party to field the candidates. That is why our letter is specific about who signs for the candidate. The people who sign for the candidate are given. The people who sign for the what's happening? Oh, it's a tire. I thought it was gunfire. The people who are going to sign for all our candidates are specific. We know that there are people who want to claim our name they can go ahead. We will meet them in any forum that they choose. But the name is ours, and we are going to field under the MDC alliance. And we are going to win this by-election. We are the only political party so far that has candidates. And I saw yesterday someone was saying that we had not fielded, I think we had not found candidates in 9 constituencies. Now, if you look at those 9 constituencies, 6 of those are constituencies held by the PDP. That's number 1. Number 2, in respect of the constituencies where you see that there are no candidates appearing on the working document that we have, it's because, one, we haven't made our mind to accept the applicants, but we have overwhelming applications for people to be candidates. We are going to field 100% in the constituencies. We are going to field 100% in the wards, and we are going to win these elections.
Thank you. Which side should I start from this time around? 1, 2, 3, 4. You want a follow-up question? Maybe you can start up with that so that the President notes it. Follow-up question quickly.
Thank you, Mr. Mwonzora. My follow-up question is, you made reference to your political goals. You made reference to political goals at a national level. I was asking in reference to the issue of the name, which is MDC Alliance, as a contestation with your political opponents in the likes of Mr. Nelson Chamisa. So I was asking, aren't you pushing them as a political goal to rebrand and detach themselves completely from the MDC Alliance and the legacy that comes with the name, or the MDC?
Thank you, Gibson. And because it is a follow-up, let me just answer it directly. Sorry, witness. We are not Mr. Chamisa's keeper. I am not Mr. Chamisa's keeper. I don't take care of his political interests. And he cannot expect that from a political opponent. I am an opponent in this election of President Mnangagwa. I am an opponent of Advocate Chamisa if he's fielding candidates. If he's not fielding candidates, fair and fine. I am a political opponent of whoever is fielding candidates. I don't plan things for them. I don't take care of their interests. What is important is that we are the owners of the name. And those people who do not own the name can use other names. There are a plethora of names in this country. After all, they have said, and I quote them, that there is nothing in a name. So when we made the decision that we are going to use the MDC alliance, Mr. Chamisa was not a relevant consideration. Our consideration was simply that we wanted to perpetuate the alliance. That's number 1. We have MPs who are using the alliance name in the parliament, and we did not want to create 2 sets of MPs coming from the same party. So we were not considering anyone. And I just want to say that the period of being political crybabies is over. We don't cry even when things are going against us, but we see people crying all over the social media and so on. And I saw, is it Wopo Chingono, that rebel without cause? Wopo Chingono saying this election is about stopping Mwonzora. I am not contesting in this election. I'm a senator already. This election is about what the people of Zimbabwe want. It is about who the people of Zimbabwe want. And we are very open. Anybody who wants to contest this election is free to do so. But the name is ours. And if anybody is inconvenienced by that, it is because, number 1, they didn't read the signs. Number 2, they didn't read the law. Number 3, they didn't heed the warning that was given by our chairman 2 years ago. What do we do to people like that? So we are not their keeper.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. You may start with the second set of questions.
Thank you so much. My name is Rutendo Mawere. I'm a freelance journalist. Just for clarity's sake, are you saying, following up on what Polisani asked earlier, Mr. Mwonzora, are you saying that the meeting that you had with the alliance partners was just with Lucia Martin? Is that the only alliance member and your party that's now remaining in existence? And then my second question is on the recalling of the MPs and councillors. Why have you not recalled all MPs and councillors that have pledged alliance to the MDC led by Nelson Chamisa? Why have you selectively recalled others and left others? Thank you.
Thank you. My second hand was yourself.
My question is, are you not ashamed and is your conscience clear?
Sorry, your name again, sir?
Adrian.
Adrian.
Blessed too.
Can you allow such a question?
It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. Let's.
Oh, blessed the second.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I've taken down your name. Yes, you can continue. Yes.
Okay, that was the question. My question was, are you not ashamed? Is your conscience clear? That was the question.
Ashamed at what? Okay, fine. I'll answer the question.
We missed the questions. A lot of us missed it, but I think maybe
You know, I'll answer.
You can't ask us to come here to bully us. Yes, the guy has asked this question, the president will answer if he wants to or not. We cannot bully journalists.
you can head on to the question.
Witness, ignore it. Ignore it.
Listen, people are recording.
You have to protect journalists. You have to protect us.
Noted. Listen. Noted. Listen. Thank you. Let's continue. Noted. Listen. Thank you. Let's note that people are recording and we are wasting their time. Thank you.
Let me. Sorry, witness. Let me just say this, Mr. Adrian. Is it Adrian? Is it Adrian? Adrian, you are fully protected. I have understood your question. I hope I have understood your question, and I will answer it. And please, can I appeal to you, the journalists? This is our press conference, and we want to hear your questions and answer them. This press conference should not be converted into something else. We beg you.
Number three. Yeah, number three.
Yes,
number three. It's yourself.
Yes. Oh, no, it's me. I was number three.
All right, number three, number four. Thank you. Shoot already.
Yes, I'm Marshall Boyer from Zimbabwe. Mr. Mwonzora, there have been reports that there are some candidates from the MDC that are withdrawing their candidature from the by-elections. Can you kindly shed light on that?
Thank you. Number four. Okay. You'll be number five.
Okay, my name is Rico Timba. I'm a freelance journalist. Yes. I wanted to understand the significance of the by-elections, or the importance. Do you share the same view like other political parties like National Constitutional Assembly? We had Professor Lodmo Matiku 2 days ago. You are saying his party position is that they see no impact or value that the by-elections will actually contribute, seeing that we are almost just a few months into 2023 when we are supposed then to be having harmonized elections. Are you not of the same view that this exercise may be futile and it may not contribute in a meaningful way to anything else that we can actually talk about.
Okay, my name is Tafadzwa Nikatsino. I'm a freelance journalist. Mr. Mwonzora, you started off your speech by indicating that you've been making efforts to have dialogue with President Mnangagwa. Part of the end goal being to make sure that there are mechanisms in place to ensure democratically acceptable elections in Zimbabwe. But funny enough, you are now geared up to partake in the upcoming by-elections, which we are not certain if these mechanisms will be put in place or not. Now, knowing that the nature for elections in Zimbabwe are always contested, do you think it is necessary for your party to partake in an election that when you win or lose, you are going to contest anyway?
Thank you. Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Rutendo, that's not what I said. I didn't say that Lucia Matipenga was the only one who was there. I just gave you as an example when we were talking about because my question was my rhetorical question was who are you saying was not there? And remember that the alliance are not individuals. The membership of the alliance are political parties, and here are some of the political parties who were there: the MDCT, the MDCN, Green, that is the former party of Professor Ulshman Ncube. The ZIMPF was there, PDP was there, Ndonga was there. So 6 out of the 7 were there as political parties. So it was not only Mrs. Lucia Matipenga. There have been a lot of propaganda regarding the alliance, and one such propaganda comes from Jonathan Moyo. And Jonathan Moyo today, I think in one of the tweets, put the alliance agreement and says whether Mwonzora could form an alliance with himself. With due respect to the professor, these are matters of law that he is not very familiar with, and he has to learn the law. And the law says that once there is an agreement, they are involving political parties, they are successors in title in the political party. We cannot confine alliance partners to people who were there when the signing was done. Some of the people who were there when the signing was done are no longer there. For example, Morgan Changirai is no longer there. So you can't say the alliance is not, it cannot be there because he is not there. He has been replaced by a lawful successor. And the representatives of these political parties have come here, and they will be fielding candidates actually in the by-elections, and you will see that we will not contest them because this is a non-compete pact. No political party has been refused the chance to establish alliances with the parties that think like it. No one has been stopped. Just like no one has been stopped from going to see Emmerson Mnangagwa's State House. It's only that we as the MDCT have taken the chance. We see value in the alliance. We see value even in the smallest of political parties. Sorry, the other party which was there, Rutendo, is the MCD, the Multiracial Christian Democrats. Guchutu's party, it was there. My friend Adrian, your question was
You left the second part of the question on the recalls.
You said, why did you recall others and not others?
Why is the recalling process selected?
Well, I don't know which one you think we should have recalled. Who was not recalled? You can give us a list of those people that you want us to recall. And what we were doing. Yes, I've heard about this job seeker thing, but I told you, I think at a previous press conference, that we looked at a number of things, but key was the affidavit that the MPs had signed renouncing their membership of the MDCT. I have not seen Sikala's affidavit renouncing his membership of the MDC. I haven't seen the affidavits of some of these MPs. If you have those affidavits, please can we have them? But also, we cannot play the factional politics within political parties. We respect the right of political parties to exist and be. So we are not there to destabilize them. We have been approached. One day somebody phoned me to say, please recall Molokela for us. Please recall Scala for us. No, it's not our job to do that. We recall a person because they've renounced the membership of the MDC. And we then act in that case in terms of clause 510A of our constitution, which says if you join another political party, if you renounce membership of the MDC, the termination is automatic, and we will recall you if you are a member of parliament. My friend Adrian, your question was too wide. Are you not ashamed? Is your conscience clear? Let me tell you what I'm ashamed about. I am ashamed, yes, by the fact that I'm living in a country where many people are so intolerant. I am ashamed about that. I am ashamed that I'm living in a country where people take to social media to denigrate a legitimate opponent. I am ashamed of that. I am ashamed of the fact that there are people who wrote POSA, who wrote IPA, who consigned this country to dictatorships that have not been seen in the history of mankind. And those people are now masquerading as Democrats and advising the opposition. I am ashamed that there are those of my colleagues who still accept these people. I am ashamed of that. I am ashamed of the people who do not do research on how certain things have worked before and how certain things have not worked. For example, people who don't research that Lancaster House was dialogue. It brought independence. That the bloodletting in Matabeleland was ended by dialogue. That the bloodletting in 2008 was ended by dialogue. And that dialogue has worked. And they don't consider that. I am ashamed of that. I am ashamed, of course, of people who spend all their time not on their candidate, but on another candidate from another party. They say the name Mwonzora more than they say their own candidate. They have a lot to say about me, but they have nothing to say about themselves. They have nothing to say about the people of Zimbabwe. I am ashamed of that. My conscience is clear. My conscience is clear because I have fought dictatorship in this country. I fought the one-party state from 1988 when I was a young student at the University of Zimbabwe. I am happy, my conscience is clear that I was fighting a one-party state. I have a clear conscience in the fact that I fought for a new constitution in this country. And in 1993, I helped produce a draft constitution, the so-called yellow draft, an attempt at a constitution of Zimbabwe. It was unaccepted. It was not accepted. We then tried another one. This was under 4 days. We then tried another constitution under the National Constitutional Assembly with Dr. Maduk, with Professor Maduk. He wrote 7 chapters of that book, of that constitution, and I wrote 5 chapters of that constitution. I am proud, and I have a clear conscience on that. I am proud and have a clear conscience that we persevered together with others to bring a democratic constitution for the people of Zimbabwe. My conscience is clear that democracy must start at home. Dictatorship at party level is unaccepted and unacceptable. I am very happy that I fought dictatorship at party level. It is unacceptable that your president is lying in the morgue and there you are having a national council meeting, national executive meeting, and installing yourself. I am very happy at fighting that. And my conscience is clear that the Supreme Court told us to go to Congress. Somebody chose to go to Congress, somebody chose not to go to Congress. And I went to Congress and I won. My conscience is clear and I do sleep well in that regard. The people of Zimbabwe require a new leadership that is tolerant, a new leadership that has jettisoned the politics of hate, rancor, acrimony, and violence, and a new leadership that wants to bring the politics of rational disputation and tolerance. And believe it, like it or not, it is a word that you are using every day now. It is a term that you are using every day now. Rational disputation. I am very happy that we have brought rational disputation. My conscience is clear that here with me are men and women who have never joined ZANU-PF. And here with me are trade unionists, the very founder members of this party. They are here with me. I'm very happy with that and my conscience is clear, my brother Adrian. The other question is that there are candidates that are withdrawing. I don't know these ones. Maybe you can shed light. But you see, what happens in the MDC is that there is candidate selection criteria that is set. For example, you should have been in the party for a certain period in order to contest. And you may also want to know that sometimes the Treasury has said that the candidates are asked to pay an administration allowance. And sometimes the candidates can't afford those allowances. Sometimes the candidate files his application, but then sees other applicants and measures his or her chances against that of those applicants. What we have seen throughout history is a situation where those candidates withdraw and support the stronger candidate. It happened, I think, in Harare Central. I think there were discussions which went on, and I also know that in Highfield that exercise is going on. So when you see a candidate withdrawing, it's not because they have no confidence in the party. It's because there is an opponent who is there internally, and they look at their chances against that opponent. What is the value of by-elections? Well, the people of Zimbabwe must be given the benefit of choice. And we think that the by-elections afford the people of Zimbabwe the right to choose. Professor Love Momaduku is right that there is, of course, the issue of national resources that is there. He is right. But we think that some of these by-elections were caused by us when we recalled people as a result of the internal dynamics that were happening within the MDC, and that we owe the people of Zimbabwe to fill those vacancies, and we are participating. We have respect of the political decisions of other political parties. So Dr. Maduku, Professor Maduku and his party have made a decision. We respect that. We don't call them names. It is their choice. Now, the last question is that well knowing that we have asked for reforms, we don't know whether reforms will happen or not, and we are gearing for elections. My brother, this is what should be done. You prepare your troops in case the battle happens. And what we are doing as the MDC team is to prepare ourselves. You may want to know that we started these preparations as far back as last year. That in case a by-election is called, what will we do? Our election department went into action, led by Mr. Gandhi Mudzingwa. We don't wait for the day of reckoning. And also, we don't work on the basis that reforms will not happen. What if they happen? And so on. So we are just being proactive. But of course, we will see how the election process proceeds, and we will make our choice, our decisions from time to time. But to sit down and say reforms won't happen, we won't prepare, that is not our style of doing things. We are planners, we are proactive. That is why we are the only political party right now which has polling agents. We are the only political party which has already fielded candidates. We have already submitted candidates, some of our candidates, to the Zimbabwe Election Commission.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. I thought that was good. If you make it very, very brief, I'll be generous. Very, very brief, please. Very, very brief.
Thank you very much. Two collapse. We indicate that job scholar, the before is going to be recalled. Are you confirming that job scholar is the member of MDC? I asked this question, bearing in mind that job scholar, there is a many occasion debated with your chairman, representing the other MDC party alliance. Are you saying that he is a member of MDC?
Let me answer you directly, my brother. No, let me answer you that. This press conference is not a referendum on job seeker. It is unfair to discuss a person who is not there. No, it's you who raised it, and we can't discuss about a person who is not there. So your second question?
My second question will be about what's your view of Poland? You want to institute a dialogue with the president, which seemingly is different from Poland. What is your view of Poland? Do you feel that it is a waste of resources, or your ideas are better dealt with differently and not in Poland?
Yeah, we can have other questions. It's a new
Tony, you can have your last shot.
Sorry, I just got in. Maybe you already answered some of these questions, Mr. Mwonzora. I just wanted to understand, as far as these by-elections are concerned, you said you're coming in as an alliance. What other members who are not coming in from the MDCT are going to be contesting these by-elections? Which constituencies specifically are going to be fielded by candidates outside the MDCT who are coming from the alliance pact? And the second question also is, you have been seeing the president. If you may please help us understand the context of these conversations. What exactly have you been discussing? Because I know it's been a long time. Initially you said you were at the initiation stage. At what stage are you at right now? What are the actual issues that you have been consulting your people on? Because Zimbabweans, you owe it to the Zimbabweans and the constituencies to know exactly on what principles are you engaged initially.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
My name is Fashido from Village. My second question is, where is Chapter?
That will be all, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. President.
Let me start with the last question. Thank you very much for that question. In the MDCT, press conferences are not compulsory for leaders to attend. So I do not know where she is right now. But if she was to attend, she would attend. If she's unable to attend, she's unable to attend. Just like you see that there are a number of people who are not here. Wafemai is not here. We have quite an Yvonne Msarorwa is not here. Oh, she's there. Yeah, we have Mabebe, chairperson of the women. We have Pugeni, Chief Njovu, Dr. Mavetera, ETC, Faith Msarurwa, and so on. And as I said, press conferences are not compulsory. And don't read too much about the absence of a person from a press conference. Why did we see the president, my brother Tonio? I had answered this question, but for your benefit, as you know, on the 11th of June, we met the president and presented concrete demands for dialogue. We also put in issues that we wanted the dialogue to focus on and made a few suggestions. The president did reply to us on the 16th of September 2021. And in his reply, there are things that we agreed with. There are some things that we were not so much in agreement.
That's my question. The things you're calling things. Zimbabwe is the old to the nation. Let us know exactly what are these things. That's my question. What is the context of your discussion? It's been a long time now.
You can do yourself a favor by allowing me to finish, because I was actually going there for you. But I wanted you to know.
But is it possible that during press conference we have members of the media only, because some of us use audio and the interjections at the back interrupt the audio?
Oh, thank you, Rotendo. I'm sure it's noted. We will make sure that you are not distracted. But what I was saying, Tonio, is that the president raised a few things in his reply. For example, he raised the issue of the dialogue forum. Where do we dialogue? And his opinion was that we should dialogue using Pollard as the platform. One of the issues he raised also was that he saw no reason for us to dialogue on war veterans and traditional leaders. So in view of some of his responses, we then undertook a nationwide program to consult our structures on the stage at which we were. The structures gave their feedback, and they made certain demands. For example, they want a slight restructuring of Pollard. I can't go beyond that because it's something in respect of which we are expecting an answer. And also our people are adamant that we must dialogue on war veterans. We must dialogue on traditional leaders, because they feel that it is in the best interest of Zimbabweans that we do that. So one of the reasons why we went there was now to convey to the president that the final decision of the MDCT reached by its National Council on 26 November is this one. And do we have a deal? Do we have an agreement so that we start the actual discussion itself? And that's what I said before you arrived. That the president then said that he was going to discuss with his legal team on some of the issues. One of the issues I raised is the issue of the youth quota. You know, the amendment number 2 introduces the youth quota. 10 MPs must be youths, and there is a feeling by the youth across the political divide that provision must be brought into operation right away. And I raised that with the president, and I also raised the issue of free and fair elections, the need for electoral reforms, even even after he had made his proclamation, that there was a duty on his part, the part of the government, to ensure that we have minimum reforms to ensure that the by-elections are free and fair. We don't want by-elections where some candidates are blocked from holding their rallies. We don't like that as the MDCT. We don't want a by-election where there is no agreement, for example, as to polling station mapping and so on. So those were some of the things that we were discussing. Now, the importance of that meeting now is that depending on the answer that is coming, it paves way for the actual discussions to take place. There is always a danger of talks about talks, dialogue about dialogue. And we now want to go to the meat of the matter. And before you arrived, I was saying that the things that we want to dialogue on, contrary to what many people think, are people issues, poverty reduction, inequality, etc. We are not dialoguing about power sharing at this stage. So that's what we discussed about, and I hope when the reply comes, we will then advise the Zimbabweans on what exactly is the issue. Which seats are we contesting? It's too early to say with certainty, but roughly I'm sure this will be informative enough. All those seats that were being held by MDCT councillors or MDC MPs are being contested by the MDCT. Those seats that were being held by other political parties other than the MDCT are being contested by candidates from those political parties, unless where they can't raise the candidates, we will then step in and raise candidates. There are seats that were being held by ZANU-PF. We had a meeting yesterday. Again, I said it before you arrived. And if your colleagues will be honest with you, you were the first person I asked about. Where is my brother Tonio? I really missed you because I wanted you to hear. I said before you arrived that there are seats which were being held by by ZANU-PF, and we asked the MDC, the alliance partners, privilege of asking any question. Yes,
quite interesting,
because you are Yvonne.
We are going to these by-elections, and these by-elections have been caused because you report members of the MDC alliance, and now we are going to these by-elections and you are going to contest as MDC alliance. So are we not just wasting taxpayers' money conducting unnecessary elections because of our, I don't know, political difference?
Yvonne, let me correct you. These by-elections happened because somebody abrogated the constitution of the MDCT, causing a conscientious member of the MDC to take us to court. They are happening because somebody refused to accept the decision of the Supreme Court. And in their refusal to listen to to abide by the decision of the Supreme Court, they, through their lawyers, drafted affidavits asking these MPs to renounce their membership of the MDCT. Had these affidavits not been drafted, there would not have been recalls. So these recalls are taking place because someone wrote an affidavit, asked the MPs to sign an affidavit renouncing their membership of the MDCT. And this triggered the automatic operation of the MDC constitution, which is clause 510A of the of that constitution. It is not our fault, it is their fault. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Thank you very much. Now dismiss.
All right.
Thank you very much.